And joining us now, another potential talked about running mate with Kamala Harris, North Carolina's Democratic Governor Roy Cooper. Governor Cooper, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning. We understand you had a conversation as well with the vice president yesterday. How did that go?
It went great. We talked about winning this race. And, you know, if you want a nominee who can put Donald Trump's destruction of Roe v. Wade at center stage, if you want a nominee who actually prosecuted criminals like Donald Trump, and if you want a nominee who can put Trump's age and fitness into forefront, Kamala Harris is the person. We talked about North Carolina. She's excited to win this thing, and I am too. This is a bottom-up kind of thing, Mika. I've been hearing you guys talking about all of the people at the top who've been endorsing her. When you look at the small dollar donations that have come in, when you see 6 states of delegates who have met and have endorsed her, to get that many Democrats in a room to agree on something, this is a bottom-up and a top-down. And I think Kamala Harris soon is going to be in a position where she can really take off. And I'm excited about it and feel confident that she can win this presidency because she has to.
So the excitement is certainly showing itself up in dollars and cents. I'm getting examples of what the campaign on the fundraising side is receiving, messages like, what a big day with VPK as the candidate. We would like to contribute $1 million. What's the best way to do that? A Republican from Texas wants to donate for the first time. Things like that. So as her running mate, that's the big question. If Kamala Harris officially becomes the nominee, then the big question is who will be her running mate. A lot of people are talking about you, Governor. If she asks you to be her running mate, will you accept?
Well, I appreciate people talking about me, but I think the focus right now needs to be on her this week, and she needs to concentrate on making sure that she secures this nomination and gets the campaign ready to go.
Willie.
Governor, good morning. Would you be open to that conversation, though? Good morning. Would you be open to the conversation if Vice President and the Harris campaign asked?
So I think it's really important that we do keep the focus on her this week. The vice presidential conversation needs to occur later. I want to make sure that Kamala Harris wins. I'm going to work for her all over this country and do what I can to make sure we stop Donald Trump. And that's what I'm concentrating on right now.
Governor, can we talk about the state of North Carolina? There have been some concerns that perhaps with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, North Carolina was slipping away. Do you think this changes that dynamic inside the state of North Carolina?
I most certainly do. I've seen immediate excitement here. And I need to step back 1 minute and say that I had a conversation with President Biden yesterday afternoon, told him that he had cemented his legacy among the greatest of presidents. And, you know, I think he had 2 of his amazing character traits working side by side. They normally do, fighting through adversity and doing the right thing. And 99% of the time plus, fighting through adversity is doing the right thing. And I think just over a period of time, he just decided that, you know, this time doing the right thing means not doing that. And that was hard for him, but I respect it and admire it. And now with Kamala Harris in this race, I've known her a long time. She came to Charlotte on the Dobbs anniversary and gave a passionate speech to a packed rally regarding women's reproductive freedom. You could tell the excitement in the room. She's going to bring that excitement to the people that we need to bring to the polls. The young people, women, suburban women who can vote either Republican or Democratic. And I'm really excited that not only can she win North Carolina, but she can help us with these other important races in our state, like Josh Stein's governor's race and Jeff Jackson's attorney general's race and Mo Green, who's running for our superintendent of public instruction in North Carolina for our public schools. We have extreme Republican candidates on the other side who fit just with Donald Trump. They're all MAGA. And North Carolina, that's not who we are. So I'm excited that this November we get a chance to prove that.
So, Governor, you've made it clear that the vice president is your choice here to represent the Democrats top the ticket. What do you think will be some of her strongest arguments? How is she uniquely perhaps positioned to prosecute a case against Donald Trump?
Well, because she's a prosecutor, number one. And I think that when you compare her prosecuting criminals like Donald Trump, that's going to be powerful. She is relatively young and strong and vigorous. Donald Trump is old and forgetful, and she's going to be able to make that contrast. She also has credentials of serving as Attorney General, protecting consumers. She is the protector of consumers, while Donald Trump is the con man. There's so many ways that Vice President Harris can show that she can be president of this country. She's been to 20 countries. She's met with over 150 leaders. She gets credit for the fact that I've been able to go out and talk with people who actually now have high-speed internet who didn't before because of the bipartisan infrastructure plan. She can take credit for the money that's going to replace the bridge in Wilmington, North Carolina, that's a lifeline to the southeastern part of our state. She gets credit for the woman who came up to me in tears, who was so excited that they were finally going to get a new water system and she didn't have to fight through so many boil water days. People who've been excited to get Medicaid expansion in North Carolina. Donald Trump wants to come and take that health care card right out of their hands. Kamala Harris has helped to defend people's right to health care. She knows it's important. Donald Trump wants an America where it's easier to get an assault weapon than it is to get health care. So we need to bring all of these issues to the forefront. I believe she is the person to do it. She has really been hitting her stride over the last couple of years. She's ready to run this race.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, thank you very much for being on the show this morning. We really appreciate it. Take care.